40 years ago, some real scary shit went down, and now the same scary shit is going down again because I just saw Halloween 2018, and I think you know what that means. Let's get started. Hello everybody, welcome to Thumb Together. My name is Andrew Fantasia, and today we're going to be talking about Halloween 2018 together. As usual, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up and give some love to that subscribe button as well. Before we get started here, I just gotta say, at the beginning of Halloween 2018, they dropped the world premiere of the trailer for Happy Death Day to You. That trailer, man. Every year I do my Fanny Awards where I give out awards for movies in different categories, and one of those categories is Best Trailer. All I'm saying is, Happy Death Day to You's trailer is being nominated for Best Trailer. Wow. I mean, wow. Anyway, Halloween. So it's finally here. The Halloween sequel that apparently we have all been waiting for is finally here. And how was it? Well, I think it is safe to say it's the best one since the original that has Michael Myers in it. Remember, part 3 is still my favorite. This new Halloween is very, very good. It maintains like the class and just the raw horror of the original one without any of the stupid crap from like Resurrection and such. You know, that's all gone, thankfully. Michael is back, of course, and he is arguably scarier and more violent than he ever has been. The kills in this movie are, they're not super outlandish or creative. It's mostly just stabbings and such. They are still very Michael Myers-esque killings, but there's just more of a brutality to them. It is much more violent and gory than you might be expecting from Halloween. Halloween's usually very cut and dry. It's just stabby and that's it. This one makes the kills a little bit more personal. I'd originally considered this part a spoiler, but it was in a bunch of promotional images, so I'm just going to show it here. But there is a scene where Michael kills a couple of totally irrelevant characters. They're nobody big in the story. And he turns one of the characters into a jack-o'-lantern. So he's definitely become more playful this time around. And not in like a silly kiddie way. I mean, like he toys with his victims. He doesn't just kill a body and just kind of leave it there. And that is also very true of the original movie. I mean, he killed people and, he put like the gravestone on the bed and put the sheet over himself. Like, there was a lot of him sort of getting into the theatricality of his murders. And that kind of fell by the wayside later on. But in this one, it's back, but it's not overdone, which is great. So they really nailed Michael. They made him scarier than he's probably ever been. And they made him a bit more brutal, which was kind of neat. But of course, as far as I'm concerned, the show was stolen by Jamie Lee Curtis the second she showed up on camera. I mean, how can you not love this woman? Curtis is finally back as Laurie Strode, and she doesn't die in the first 10 minutes. Cough, Resurrection, cough. Now, I'm not trying to be subtle. I'm not going to hide those coughs. You screwed up, Resurrection. I'm not going to be polite and pretend that, mock you under my breath. I'm mocking you over my breath. But she's back, and she has been traumatized by the events of the first Halloween. For her entire life, it's made her agoraphobic. She lives in this weird house in the woods that's all set up with traps and like military precise obstacle courses and shit like that. She is 100% dedicated to never letting the events of the first movie happen to her again. She does not want to be helpless, and she is not helpless. Laurie Strode is a force of nature in this movie. And of course, the whole movie sets up like a boxing match almost. Like, we know, we want to see it happen. We want to see these two characters, Michael and Laurie, come together and duke it out again. And the film knows that that's what we want, so it teases it in a fun way. The two of them sort of cross paths a couple times and just miss each other, but they're aware of one another. And that suspense of being like, oh, when are they going to just fight? It pays off. It does pay off. It's not a disappointing battle. It is a quick battle. I will give it that. It's not a long, big epic thing. It is a very quick confrontation, but it is a powerful confrontation. The creepy Halloween atmosphere is back too, though admittedly it's not as strong in this one. But we do get a sense of Haddonfield, particularly suburban Haddonfield, on Halloween night. And it is beautiful, and seeing all the trick-or-treaters, and everything is bathed in a black and orange glow. We even see a couple trick-or-treaters wearing the masks from Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, which made me very happy. There's a lot of little Easter eggs and callbacks to other movies, even though those movies are no longer part of this canon, which is nice. It shows that the filmmakers are still fans too, which I love. Speaking of the atmosphere and the color scheme, orange is very prevalent, which I liked, and they use it in the backgrounds in subtle ways, so it's not overpowering, but it's there. You've all seen that scene from the trailer where they're at the mental hospital and there's the orange and white tiled floor. I really liked that. There's another scene later on that takes place in a medical hospital, and the walls are just a slight orange, but it's not in your face. It's just subtle in the background. And I love when the Halloween movies do that. So it covered the atmosphere too. It checked all those boxes. But there are some boxes that it doesn't quite check, at least for me. The whole thing with Michael and Laurie being brother and sister was a concept introduced in Halloween 2. And in this film, Halloween 2 doesn't exist. So in this film, they're not brother and sister. That's been, wiped clean. They even make mention of it in the movie, where Laurie's granddaughter is talking with her friends about what happened, and they're like, hey, wasn't that her brother? And she's like, no, that's like a misconception, that a rumor got spread by the media and people latched onto it. So they acknowledge that whole brother-sister thing and make it very clear that no, Laurie and Michael are not related in the canon of this film. Since that is the case, I'm going to be the first to admit it is a little less powerful when Michael starts interacting with Laurie and the other members of the Strode family, because Laurie has a daughter and a granddaughter now. See, Michael is committing a whole bunch of murders in this movie. Halfway through the film, he's already committed more murders than he did in the entirety of Halloween 1. And I get that. I get that that's his shtick. Like, on Halloween, he goes bonkers and he just wants to go stab people. And that's fine. And, in the first film, it was fun, and here it's fun. It's just, I guess because we're so used to the whole brother-sister dynamic, it made it a little just less powerful to know that Michael encountering Laurie was just a complete random happenstance, as it was in part 1. He's just sort of meandering through the neighborhood again, stabbing anybody he comes across, but sparing others, strangely. And then sooner or later he crosses paths with Laurie, and it's implied that he recognizes her. It doesn't feel like Michael's after her for revenge or anything like that. They just kind of bump into each other. And that could have been stronger. However, it was made stronger by the fact that Laurie is setting traps for Michael like you wouldn't believe. She wants him to show up. Laurie's house is like Home Alone on crack, okay? Like, she has traps everywhere. Another thing that kind of fell short for me was how the movie ended. With something like Halloween 1 or Halloween 5, it's a very clear cliffhanger. When the credits roll, it's very apparent and like, oh, there's more to come. We're not done with this story yet. That's fine. That's cool. Then you've got something like the first Halloween 2 or Halloween H2O, where the ending is very clearly not a cliffhanger. The ending is, boom, we killed Michael. That's it. It's over. End of story. And that's cool too. I like both of those. But the ending of this, it just feels ambiguous for ambiguity's sake. It ends very abruptly, first of all, and it keeps cutting back to what we think is the victory achieved by the heroes, and then it turns out maybe it's not a victory, but it is, but it's not quite, and it's too ambiguous. And I don't like that, especially considering this is a franchise that is notorious for never dying. I don't mean that in a fun way, like, it'll never die. I mean it in a way like, oh god, it'll never die. If they made it more clear, like, to be continued, like, this is there's more coming, there's more, we wrote a bigger story, great. Or if they just flat out killed Michael Myers and put a cap on it, great. But they did neither of those things. They tried to straddle a line, and it's too Hollywood like that. I don't like that. It's too like, maybe this is the end, but if we make a lot of money, maybe we'll have another one. I don't like that, man. Just freaking pick a lane and stay in it, please. So I'm not a fan at all of how it ended. But the whole movie preceding that ending was so good and had so many little bits of fan service, particularly one scene with a character falling off a balcony that was friggin' fantastic, and it had people in the audience clapping, that I think at the end of the day, Halloween wins out as a victory. A great movie, a great sequel, and a film that truly lives up to the legacy that it's banking off of. I mean, let's be real. It's banking off of that legacy, but it deserves to, because it's honoring, respecting, and adding to that legacy, which is always great. But that has been Halloween 2018. I highly recommend you go see it, especially if you're a Michael Myers fan. I'm Andrew Fantasia. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you here next time. And until then,